enemy right now, political enemy. Biya, as far as we are concerned, though he doesn't have the solution, he is not the one to grant us independence that we get. Let people get that straight. Our independence is not up to Paul Biya. But the fact that Paul Biya has unleashed his criminal army on our people makes him our enemy. So between Kamto and the people of Ambazonia, we have a common enemy. Now, if the enemy of my enemy can actually put pressure on my enemy so that it stops the killing of my people, why on earth will I want to stop that and allow the enemy to keep killing my people? So the way I see it, Kamto has his mission, which is completely different from Ambazonians. And we are not, there is no mistake about that. Our independence is not dependent on Paul Biya or on Kamto. Absolutely not. Kamto can make noise from here to Jericho and back. The independence of Ambazonians will not and will never depend on him. But does that mean that he is not useful to the quest to our independence and to the right to life of our people? No, he is. The pressure he is putting makes the enemy to actually temper on the kind of massacre they want to unleash on our people. The pressure he is putting makes all that to want this enemy of ours that is carrying out genocide to reduce the victims of this genocide of our people. So are we then going to say that just because we have a different objective than Kamto, then Kamto suddenly should never ever say anything that is going to benefit or save the lives of our people just because? To me, it doesn't make sense. In every revolution, sometimes you need to work with some people in the opposite camp, not necessarily in the enemy camp, but in the opposite camp in order to foster your own objective. That is life.
Okay. Thank you so much, Comrade Jesse. I have my reservations when it comes to Kamto.
Understandably.
And I'll keep my thoughts to when you all are done talking. But let me switch to Capo. What do you think about what your fellow comrade just said, and with regards to the question that I asked?
Yeah, I think this is a very big issue because you are dealing with potentially the next president of the Republic of Cameroon and the leaders of the Ambazonian revolution who are in jail, who holds a very strong sway over our population and our mobilization. And when they come out, they make contradictory statements. It is very big, and it is an opportunity for us to as analysts, to boldly take on this issue so that our people have a better understanding about the dynamic of the characters that are in play. And it will also enable them to judge for themselves what is going on. I think what has happened, me being, I was in the fourth conclave and I had a first-hand witness of the behavior between our leaders, because sometimes people's personal characters can have serious ramification on the entire nation. There is bitter blood between Seseko and Mr. Tassan Wilfred, Deacon Tassan Wilfred, that I respect a lot. I remember in the fourth conclave, I actually knelt down in front of him to plead with him not to leave the conclave ground because of certain I would call it injustice that was done for those who were sidelined. At that point, he was on the right side, and I think even Seseko had accommodated that aspect, even though things did not go the way we all wanted. That beside, I just want to give you a background of what is going on. We cannot have a situation where it is like the same dynamic that is going on between Dr. Cho and Dr. Akwanga, where if you say A, the other person must say B.
Exactly.
We have to put our nations first. Seseko, in terms of ranking amongst the leadership, he is a leader, and leaders are allowed to have some discretion on how to position the struggle. If Kamto, we know we are all painful, we all go through, like JC have said, the humanitarian crisis touches us in a magnitude that even though Kamto is bad for us because it is going to make it not so popular for us to push our population for independence, And so Seseko, we don't have any reason to attack Kamto. We have no reason. He's not the president. He's not the president of La Republique of Cameroon. We don't have any business attacking him as a person.
But he has a huge following.
Intellectually. Yeah. So that letter that Tassan Wilfred wrote, saying that he was worse than Paul Biya, was really something that was perceived as being very offensive. In a matter where we could be more diplomatic, we would have to start every posturing again from afresh when country is going to take the leadership of that country, which we expect. So I think that Seseko coming out to make that statement was just reinstating the posture that the interim government have always taken towards Kamto, which is that of respect, not that of engagement. Seseko is not looking to work with Kamto because Kamto is not the president. They have not had any type of engagement as perceived from that letter, because if you read the letter that Tassan Wilfred was sending out, you would just look like, is there a red light? Is he trying to raise an alarm, but not really raising an alarm? And when you look at his response, full of gospel verses, they're not really addressing the issue that the remaining Naira 9 wrote it. I was just so disappointed. I will tell you, I'm a fan of Tassan Wilfred as a conservative and also as a Messianic Jew who is tied to my Christian root. I just feel so bad that he's taking this hard position. I've reached out to him several times in the detention, and I think he have this issue. I will say it because we are not here we are democratic people. We are not afraid of anybody or any backlash. I will say it. If Seseko have to say A, Tassan Wilfred will say B. It has to stop. They are both leaders, and we have a lot of regards to them. They should make decisions or statements not based on what this person is saying or what this person is not saying. That is what I will say for now. Okay, great. Comrade Asu Lucas, do you agree with what our dear comrades just said?
There is some relevance to what both Capo and Jesse have said, and I really appreciate both of their perspectives. Kamto is the next president of La Republique du Cameroon. There is no doubt about it. It's done for Paul Biya. The game is over for the Biya's regime. The stage has been set for Maurice Kamto. Let me say this. Maurice Kamto has been placed as the neutralizer. That's the stage. Maurice has been placed as the neutralizer. So our leaders have to be very tactful in how they want to use even Maurice Kamto's influence in Cameroon. They have to be very tactful because they all can fall into the trap. Here is the trap, and here is where Kamto comes in. Biya is unwilling. It is not the nature of a dictator to seek for political solutions. It's the nature of dictators to crush their opponents. That's their DNA. So Biya's approach to Ambazonia is just a characteristics of how dictators solve problems. They are stubborn, they are egotistical, they are foolish, they are egomaniacs. They are morons sometimes. Poor Biya is a motherfucking asshole. He doesn't think. And he surrounds himself with people that are just like him to carry the mission of destruction. So the game is over for Biya. Now, this is where Kamto is coming in. I'm just going to plead for everybody that is watching. Please don't call me because I'm using the same phone you're calling me to do this right now. Okay. So this is where Kamto is coming in. Kamto has been placed in by the people we know, the international system controlled by France, as the neutralizer where Biya cannot solve the problem. They are portraying Kamto as someone who seems to be a moderate, someone who is soft-spoken, someone who shows emotion and sympathy and empathy and compassion for what's happening to the Ambazonian people. He's a neutralizer to our independence. We should make no mistake about this. Biya is our ticket to Ambazonia freedom. So what they are trying to do now is, Biya does not want to accept negotiation. Biya does not want to assemble a negotiation team. Biya wants to impose these solutions. France is tired of Paul Biya, and now they want to get him out. That's the plan now. Get Paul Biya out. So they are looking for the safest way now. And the safest means, there is some form of international negotiation going on about how they have to do this, how to get Biya out in the way that Cameroon does not totally crumbles. And then how do they make sure that when they get Biya out, there will be some smooth form of transition? Look at the posture. You can see Edith Kawala, it's also now moving towards that direction with Kamto. That's why they are doing this protest now together. 2 days ago or 3 days ago, for the first time, they allowed Kamto, after Macron's speech with the activists, they allowed Kamto, they gave him the permission to be able to hold a rally that was attended by massive hundreds of thousands of La République du Cameroun citizens. There was no arrest. It's over for Paul Biya. Kamto has been placed as the next leader of La République du Cameroun, and Kamto has been given the opportunity to take a softer approach to end the war. He's calling for an ending to the war. He's calling for the release of all political prisoners. They have already started this approach where they are making amends to say, we want to accommodate, we want to accommodate. He says he's open for anything except separation.
Independence, right.
First of all, who is Maurice Kamto to say he's open to anything except the separation of Ambazonia? Where the people of Ambazonia and the people of La République have nothing in common. It is an occupied territory. They occupied southern Cameroon. So for someone who's not already in power to start to inject this proposition that he's ready for everything except the independence of southern Cameroon, when there is no act of union, this is where we have to be very tactful. The stage has been set for a compromise solution, and Kamto is the neutralizer. That's what I will say for now. Maybe we'll come up to this. But here is, when it comes to Siseko and Tassang, here is what is going on. Tassang is looking at things from a very religious perspective. So that's why he calls Kamto the devil. So Ayok is looking at Kamto from a very pragmatic political perspective. So he looked at Kamto as a potential asset, just like Jesse said, to lessen the pressure, because that's what the revolution has done. It's given the indigenous people of La République du Cameroun to rise up. We, the Ambazonia people, gave Maurice Kamto the voice to rise up in Cameroon. It's not because of people of French Cameroon. It is the Ambazonian people that have created that, destroy that institution, remove create this resistance within La République. We gave them the voice. We gave them the courage. So Maurice Kamto needs to be thanking the Ambazonian people for opening that door for him. How do we go about to use this? We need to be very tactful. It's a very delicate balance. And if we are not very careful, the international community, they are looking for, here is, remember what Nagi Tibo has said.
Start rounding up, Comrade Asu.
Okay, they need to move the talks towards the center of the moderates. And that's where Kamto comes in.
All right, great. Thank you for that thoughtful contribution. Comrade Jesse, it seems like you have something to say with regards to what Comrade Asu just said.
I'm waiting.
I see you're anxious to say something, so let me.
Thank you for reading me correct, Abu Fri. Comrade Asu, look, I'm not disputing with anything you said. All right, you are spot on. All right. So when we say that, and you've put it in a way that every Ambazonian should understand, Siseko is looking at this from a political, pragmatic, realistic angle. The revolution is not fought in a spiritual realm by religious people. This is where Ambazonians need to make the difference.
Yeah.
This revolution is not about pastors and deacons and their religious beliefs of devils and Satan and everything. This is real life. Children being killed. If we are not pragmatic and realistic as to what the revolution, it is fought by humans. The devil is not wearing horns and killing our children on ground zero. It's done by men, human beings, you and I, with bullets. It takes human beings, you and I, that will resolve. That is what it would take to resolve this thing. It is not Angel Gabriel that's going to come down from, you know where. What I'm saying is this. We all know Kamto's stance as far as our independence is concerned. Don't get it twisted. From President Siseko to the Naira 9, which I call them now. When I refer to Naira 9, I mean Naira 9 except for Tassang, because there seems to be some serious misunderstanding there. and to the cross-section of right-thinking Ambazonians. We know where Kamto stands as far as our independence is concerned. He has said during his campaign, he was on a campaign trail, and he said he was never ever going to stand for the independence of Ambazonians. Even in his rallies, the one he had in Paris, if you listen to Maurice Kamto keenly, he distorts our history. He refuses to bring the legality. As a law professor, you expect him to have an absolute grasp of the legality of our revolution, but he would ignore it. He will refuse to acknowledge it. He will refuse to go into it, because if he does that, it gives our revolution the integrity, how do I put it? The fact, the support that it deserves. So he is living in denial. We are not blind. Kamto has his game that he's playing. We have our game that we are playing. And like you said, we need to be tactful. By being tactful, it doesn't mean that anybody that is not Ambazonian is the enemy. No, it is not the point. The point is that we have a fight, but we have common ground that we can both benefit. And whether Kamto is president today or not is actually not going to deter our determination. The only thing that will give Ambazonians their freedom is Ambazonians themselves, not Kamto, not Tibor Nagy, not Ambassador Cohen. None of them will give our independence. If Kamto takes over La République du Cameroon today, and we equip our boys, let's wait and see if Kamto himself is not going to send military to our people, or if he is not going to come to the table and tell us that let us discuss this issue. That is the point. The point is support our defense actions. And there is nothing anybody can do. We need to protect our communities. The other thing is, he calls for end of war, for the end of war. It is very simple. He has refused to use the word genocide. And this is something that Professor Ngana has hinged on, to say that everywhere, no matter how much Kamto talks about our people, he's refused to acknowledge the fact that there is genocide on the people of Ambazonians. That is because he is already looking at the fact that if he acknowledges genocide today, it might have implications for when he thinks he's going to take power. We are not stupid. We see the game plan going, and we are saying that, look, we've been there before in 1961, when the same people from his region, the Western region, convinced the Fonchas to go with French Cameroon. That is what happened. We're not the same generation. We have learned our lesson. We have only one objective. But that does not mean that Kamto cannot be useful to us. So like you said, we have to be tactful. We have to know exactly. And that is why our leaders in their letter, as a disclaimer to TASAM, reiterated their position. So even if Kamto is going to take that letter and use it for his political aggrandizement internationally, at the end of it, on the third paragraph, it says that we stand for nothing but independence. At the end of the day, he is going to come to the table and discuss that last paragraph with the leaders of Ambazonia. It is that simple. But right now, he is bringing the kind of international kind of international support and
awareness.
Yeah, exactly. About our struggle, about the killings of our people, about our leaders in jail, that these same religious leaders have failed to do ever since they call themselves leaders. So who is fooling who here? Let's just be honest. Like Kapo said, the bad blood between Patasan and President Sisiko did not start today, but that is a story for another day. A lot of people in the revolution have a lot of bad blood going around. So.
Well, let's.
Yeah.
So to me, that's another bad blood scenario. But
Right.
the leader is the leader, the president is the president. And for Patasan to think that he knows better than every other leader, about better than the other 9, is unthinkable as a team leader. And this is what our people need to know. As a team leader, if I'm in a team of 10 and there is a decision to be taken, and I disagree with the decision where the other 9 said that's the decision, I bow down, because that is team spirit. And I tell you that, okay, if the 9 of you think this is the best way to go, I might not agree, but that is democracy, right? The majority know better. So I will bow down. I will not go out and then claim to say that, no, you guys are trying to give an impression of you are impeached, I'm the righteous one because I have divine wisdom from God knows divine intervention, something. Let's be real. Ambazonians need to wake up and stop reading the Bible and stop putting their hands in their pockets and donating to the struggle. Okay.
In Jesus' name, amen. Jesse.
That was very powerful, Comrade Jesse. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. I think you all have rounded my thoughts in y'all's analysis. So
I promise that there was gonna be some drama and some taboo. Yeah.
Well, we see that. So not to dwell too much on this issue, I'm glad that I have somebody from the AIG of C as well as two people from Sisiku's IG, and either one of you. Well, I think I'll give each of you a chance to answer this. So with regards to the coalition that we heard, that was being formed between the AIG of C and the Sisiku's IG. How is that phasing out? What's the progress with that? Capo, let me start with you on that.
Just a point of correction, I have two caps. The Sisiko caps and the Ayabacho caps. This way, don't blink. This other way, it says that it's independence or nothing. And I think that our people have to get used to. We have been I think, in most of our chatters, both in WhatsApp and on Facebook pages, we have had a lot of influence by La République du Cameroon agents. I mean, seriously, they have distorted our narrative and the way we perceive ourselves by coming to Ayabacho's face and say that I don't like Siseko, and the same people going to Siseko page and say that I don't like Ayabacho. They have set us against each other so much that we do not know what we stand for. We are all in Ambazonia team. There is nothing like a group here. We are all for one thing, Ambazonian independence. Siseko is for Ambazonian independence as well as Ayabacho. So when I look at both groups, I see two people fighting for the same thing. One is like two churches, the Baptist church and the Presbyterian church. They are all looking for people to go to heaven. Just that the Baptist church are forcing people to go under the water, that they must be baptized in a certain way. And then the Presbyterian church have another way. But me, I can take the two baptism. I don't have any problem. So,
but this is the thing, when we announce that they're still separate, they're still
separate entity for
right,
one.
and people are doing their things. Like, these groups are doing their
like
things.
Mother and Father, when they say Mother and Father, they are one. It does not mean that they have suddenly become the same one person. But we all know that the interim government and the governing council, they are all fighting for the independence of Ambazonia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just have a different approach. The leaders, both leaders, are having what the best chemistry that I have seen since this revolution started. I'm privileged to be one of the point person. I had worked with Siseko very closely to get the common law lawyers with into the Skakuf and his administration. He gave me that task because he trusted me. I was the main person to liaise with Harmony Bogba to get them, to get him into the judiciary of the interim government. And right now, I'm so privileged that he appointed me as an ambassador with a specific mission to facilitate and build trust between the AIG of C movement as well. So, and Ayabacho have also found my work with the defense team to appoint me, the DEF chief, not Ayabacho, to appoint me as a deputy defense chief. It also shows that both leaders, they trust me in doing this particular job. And my mission as an ambassador is not limited to, but is basically focused on building trust between both groups and also engage with the joint team. There is a team that works in the background out of the cabinet, a joint team of AIG of C members and the IG members. They are trying to build a common collaborative avenue where we can collaborate. So both groups are collaborating on many fronts. We have seen documents and decisions reached by both Mr. Yerima and Dr. Cho, and we hope it will continue in that spirit. And people should get used to. In America, in many developed countries, there's always a tradition that you appoint somebody from the opposite side. And I think this shows that Siseko is thick in his skin. He's not afraid of challenges. He knows my stance, and Ayabacho knows my stance. And I have a lot of things I oppose in the AIG of C and in the IG as well. But these are two leaders that have backbone to defend themselves and to receive people that can challenge their perspective. And I appreciate that, and I hope more and more people will appreciate that. I've had some people who have come up, like the CEO of Barata News, and said that I'm accumulating position. And I think it's just a lack of understanding on how democracy works. A struggle like ours is a collective struggle. You have to have people from diverse position working together. There is nothing like people accommodating position. After all, what is it? What am I doing in the interim government? I assist there. What am I doing in the AGOFC? I also assist there. And if my head is my neck have the bone to carry the head, I will continue to carry the head on as depending on the leaders. If they see my usefulness, I will continue to do it. But I believe I'm still very useful to help the IG, as well as I'm still working for the AGOFC as an aide also, not only the ADF. Even though I'm not appointed, but I'm a member of the ADF. I'm also a member of the AGOFC and the interim government. Okay, so people should be free, to do the same thing. If you're in ground zero and somebody tells you that you must fight for the ADF or you must fight for the interim government, tell them you fight for everybody, you fight for Ambazonia. If you are an activist and they tell you that you must only say things that support one group, please tell them that you are for Ambazonia. And those groups and movements, they are just a vehicle of our revolution. And I'm very happy that I'm playing this role. It may be difficult at first, like many things that I've done in this revolution. People sometimes they spit me and they say everything, but I'm very hopeful that somehow they will get to understand once they know me very well, or they see my work, and they will come to appreciate.
Okay, so before I get your thoughts on this as the press secretary of the AGOFC, let me have a follow-up question with Capo. Now, you did talk about, the need or the necessity to, work with others, given that this is a war of, this is a revolutionary war, and we need to put all our differences aside and work together regardless of, differing policies and all that. Do you think that we have to work or collaborate with every single person that identify themselves as a leader in this revolution?
Not at all. We don't have to identify ourselves, but you have to have leaders that have distinguished themselves. It is impossible to have multiple leaders leading a revolution because we don't yet have a state. When we have a state, we will have a single head of state. But you have to have various leaders and various groups working. And thank God we are diverse. Otherwise, we will be in Switzerland eating cheese with the HD. So it is good that we are diverse. And every leader has his own strength. Every group and movement have their own strength. They will complement each other once they learn to collaborate and appreciate each other's strength. And the job of the enemy is for us to see how it is not possible for us to work together. But the job of patriots should remain to see how we can really work together. Our people deserve this. They deserve this unity. Imagine if we are going to negotiate and we are arguing about who is going to, what is going to compose the technical team. I'm very happy that as I speak to you, both the interim government and the governing council are putting together technical team that can represent the entire revolution. And it has the support in principle of other parties that have been consulted in the various movements. And hopefully what I advocate for is not actually what they are working for, is for the creation of an actual memorandum of understanding for a platform that would look like a revolutionary council, when both leaders can sit together and make common decisions so that we don't have conflict in position on the negotiation table. Okay. But I don't think that we should work with everybody. I think a faction like Sako's faction should not be respected to sit on the table, not because he's not a leader of certain people, but I just think that in creating every movement or every institution, you must have a point of reference. And the points of reference...
Hold that thought, Comrade Capo, because we are going to come to that issue. So don't let the cat out of the bag yet. Comrade Asu, do you have anything to add to the question I had asked, the previous question, with regards to...
I have something to add.
Okay.
So the relationship between Siseko and Dr. Cho, the relationship between Siseko's interim government and Dr. Cho governing council is instrumental. It's the bedrock of stability in our revolution. You take that away, the revolution is over. All right. You have this man, Sisekwa Yokabe, who played a pivotal role in our revolution, almost like a messiah at the time for what he did, being able to mobilize the Amazonian people like never before in our history. On the 22nd of September 2017, to get including grandmothers in their 90s and grandfathers in their 90s to a 2-year-old child for every single Amazonian to take to the street. That is unprecedented. That was the turning point. That was actually the volcanic point of this revolution. His ability to do that is fundamental to who we are as a people in terms of where we are today. So the fact for what he did for the Amazonian people, not only that, that was just the test. A week later, he told them to take to the streets and proclaim their independence and celebrate their independence. Amazonian people took to the streets. So he created this social impact to bring everybody on board. Every single Amazonian socially became part of the revolution. Now, that is where his work began, and to a greater extent, it stopped there because they picked him up about 2-3 months later. What Dr. Cho did, what you said, declaration of independence, verbally or by principle, is not enough. Previous generations have done that. It won't give us independence. There is something else that has to be done. And this is where Dr. Cho took from where Siseku left it, took the people from that point and gave them the courage, the inspiration, and the tenacity to do something that has brought us to where we are. Declare independence, get the people involved, then you give them the courage and the inspiration. So the merger of these two leaders is the bedrock and stability of our revolution. We need both. These institutions are the foundation of what this revolution is about, all right? People like Samuel Sako, they are just imposters, as Sako has said, okay? They have nothing to offer the Amazonian people. If anything they offer the Amazonian people is chaos, propaganda, a stain in our revolution, a distortion, distraction, division, death to our people, all right? If we were to be in certain parts of the globe, Samuel Sako would have been hanged in the public square for what he's done to the Amazonian people.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Asa Lucas. So we have a whole lot to talk about. So I'm gonna, if you all can limit your analysis to 2 minutes, that would be great. We have a whole lot to talk about, and I know you all have other things to do. So Capo, you had briefly talked about, those going for, if it comes to that point, those going for dialogue. Or negotiation, and I just wanted to thank you for bringing that up. So I wanted to also ask, we have seen some few people come up, talking about negotiation and dialogue. So Jesse, let me come to you. What is the role of the Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation in a War of Independence?
Thanks, Abu Fri. But you're referring to the organization that's having a conference?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. I think it is important to understand that organization is neither an IG organization nor an EGOV-C organization, but rather just a group of Amazonian professionals that have put this together and are inviting teams to come with proposals. So sorry, your question is
what is their role? Do you think that they are going to how do you think that they are going to go far with this project that they have,
I think it's too early to say, but I must commend them for doing this. We always need, there is always room for improvement. We need to try to keep better. We must have that spirit of trying to improve ourselves. And they're providing a platform for us to come as a people with different proposals, sit under different topics, and come up with reasonable propositions regarding these different areas of the struggle and post-conflict, post-independence. So as to the impact that this conference and what they're trying to do would have on the revolution. That will be determined on the quality of proposals and the quality of leaders and the quality of people that show up at that conference. And just to dive to what the previous two colleagues have said, the Ambazonian people need to be very determined. They need to decide, are we going to keep playing this hide and seek game, or are we going to actually stand up and face the revolution and face certain leaders for exactly who they are? The moment we keep burying our heads in the sand about certain leaders and thinking that they're going to wake up tomorrow and repent and suddenly become true leaders of the revolution, or thinking that because they preach that the right leaders, then we are deceiving ourselves. A cross-section of our people still live in this semi-blind, semi-hypnotic state, where they think that it is the Bible carriers that are going to save us. And if they do not wake up, then they're living in a spiritual realm and not really in reality. But before I stop speaking, because you've limited us to 2 minutes, there is a comment I would like to make to something that my comrade Lucas Asu there said.
I knew you were gonna mention that, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you for poking me then. He did say that everything he said about the need, the necessity of this collaboration between the IG and EGOV-C saving the revolution is true. I take nothing away from that. These two leaders are the bedrock on which the revolution rests, as well as all of us, and we'll come to that. We'll talk about women when Abu Fri gives me a chance. And at this point right now, Sisiku's work has not stopped, neither has it ever been anywhere close to being stopped, like my comrade Lucas Asu insinuated. He did say after 22nd of September and 1st of October, that is around where Sisiku's work stopped, because he was picked up about a couple of months after that, and I would say no. They are being picked up. The impact that Sisiku made on the international scene in his few months in power followed the impact that their abduction and being incarcerated has caused in the revolution. Because of their incarceration, the international community has stayed on our case. Yes, they do not and they will not move at the pace at which we want, but the revolution has stayed alive in their heads and in their minds, because these incredible leaders, whom they saw as different from the usual dictatorial military personnel leaders that come up from Africa, the kind of leaders that they wish Africa had shown up and had been arrested by another African dictator. And so Sisiku's work never stopped, because even when they were, it was made known that they were alive and in Yaoundé, they have continued. They have had contacts with these international community members who still go to them, because they know that there will be no solution to this conflict until the issues that those leaders are putting on the table are actually addressed. And that's not taking anything away from Comrade Ayaba, because Comrade Ayaba has been able to keep, like you said, to give the people the courage when needed. He's been able to keep that tenacity. He is forceful in nature. While Sisiku is soft-spoken, these two complement each other like no other two leaders in the revolution. One is a political strategist with a vision of a leader that can lead a country, that can do all of this. Both of them are. But the other one has this youthful strength and this forceful nature that is very necessary in a revolution. So a combination of that leadership is what the people have been able to stick to and have been able to stay in the revolution to today. And like you said, the distractors need to be kept aside. They can always
Jesse, by the way, your 2 minutes are over.
I would like to stop me from talking. Okay, I yield.
You guys, both of you guys need to let me talk.
Please, I have to respond.
We have two leaders.
Giving the floor.
We have two leaders. One who we'll get a two leader, then one who king, the other one who collapse. So one they can for hand, the other one they can collapse for hand.
Yes. So,
And
so
it work,
Jesse,
right?
what you and
Comrade
Capo have
Asu.
said, what you have said is absolutely right. I'm not taking away from Siseko. What I said was that that work that he did to mobilize the people was instrumental. What Dr. Cho has done was to take it from that point where it was a social political revolution to ignite it in order for us to respond appropriately to what La Republique du Cameroon was doing to our people. Okay, responding politically, it wouldn't have solved the problem. Okay, that was great. It was a good starting point for our revolution. So the combination of their mastery of leadership in terms of social mobilization and influence, and the ability to inspire courage, fearlessness to confront this evil is what makes these two leaders the center point of our revolution. Now, what they have done in terms of their ability, both of them, using masterful political experience language and their tactfulness, they have brought a level of maturity, a level of discipline, a level of professionalism into our leadership. And so, what people like Samuel Sako and other political prostitute and impostor like Chris Anu, what they have done is to try to stain this revolution, to make it look like a poor beer kind of a gangster type of behavior where people with no education, no discipline, no mastery, no intellect want to lead the people. That's what they are doing to our revolution. And so you are right in pointing out that the earlier the Ambazonia people wake up and realize that this is not the kind of future we want to build, Siseko is a model of what a fatherly figure, an Ambazonia president look like. Dr. Cho brings in that youthfulness, that elegance, right? That strategic mindset, that orientation to confront the evil and face it head on. That ability to bring these two people together gives us a nation unlike no other. And this is where we are. So the Ambazonian people embrace these two organizations as the bedrock of our revolution, the faster we can have this freedom.
Amen to that.
So, yeah. Thank you, Comrade Asu. So, as much as I would love for us to, to continue talking about this, I think that, it is important, which I myself and maybe most of you on here will agree that self-defense is the key. We've seen the massacre of our people. We've seen, the incident that happened in Gabu in when was that? February 14. And just yesterday, Babanki happened. So I want us to really talk about this and the need to get these boys on the ground equipped so that they can be able to defend, our mothers, our children, our women, every single person. We cannot keep on, from my understanding, especially looking at what is happening with, what is happening on ground zero, a whole lot of people have not come to terms with the fact that self-defense is a priority at this point in time. So, Capo, as the defense deputy defense chair for the Savannah regions, right? Is it the Savannah regions?
You're correct.
Okay, as the deputy defense chair, what is your take on this defense, self-defense and the need to weaponize the guys on the ground to be able to properly defend protect our people?
I think the challenge have been, we started off with the ADF, the Ambazonian Defense Forces, and you have Sokadev, and you had other people who stepped in to start giving those units names. You also had the Tigers who came up, but you have people who stepped in and start giving social media bloggers who start giving those people's name because they wanted those people to be given them. It was like a fight between the activists who is going to report what first and who wants to dominate to become the most popular activist. It plays a part at that issue. And you also have people who injected themselves into self-defense that had just derailed everything. But we started off with well-structured self-defense group, specifically the Ambazonia Defense Forces and SOCADEF. And you also had something that was being set up, the ARA, which has I've seen the diagram. I also spoke with the head of the DOD in Nigeria. They had a very good idea in their mind. But in terms of the structure on the ground, boots on the ground, you had camps already that had been built because the ADF, they had anticipated that we are going to get into this self-defense eventually. They were already building camps, training. We have seen their videos and stuff like that. So those people started off very, very well. Every single group started off very, very well until it became a social media issue and until you have people who injected themselves there to start fighting for power. I think infiltrators. I'll give you an example. In Gabon, when La République du Cameroon attacked there, the general who have a camp there is an ADF general that I've been talking to for a length. We had an incident in Ndonga Mantung that I reported that a lot of people did not pick on it, but it happened in Gabu there, where you had Chacha. They came up there. Those guys were not really well equipped like the contender forces. They came up there, they overwhelmed them, they disarmed them completely. And if you look at the type of weapons that the guys have there now, you just pity them. They disarmed them, and unfortunately, the Gabu incident happened just shortly after that incident. And those guys could not even intervene. They had tried, I think, last week to step up and attack in one area. Is it called Mbotu or what area? Those down there, you're coming to Ngabu 1, just as you are leaving Banso to get inside Ndonga Mantung there. They put up a small resistance there. It was not effective. They had to withdraw tactically, and the remaining things are sensitive things. We have seen the same thing that happened in Boyo, where RK was picked up, and because of political things, we've seen the same thing play out in many other areas. You've seen Sako coming up to ban groups that were acting on the ground to delegitimize them and give this type of impression that they could be killed. You've seen Chris Ano declaring war on SOCADEF, and you've seen eventually Beneza Kwanga also declared war on the Sword of Ambazonia. You have seen this infighting of people, some of them just by power mongering, and others, I think, which have been affected by infiltrators. You have claims of people receiving money from La République. All those things have really put us on the back hill. And now we have to be debating about who controls which area, county by county, this by this. So that is our greatest problem. But right now, since my appointment, I had ruled out a policy speech that had been vetted and worked upon by our defense guys, and it has been well received. I will tell you that there is practically very few county by county guys on Ground Zero who have not contacted me directly and say, Capo Daniel, I want to work with you. We are already working with them on a very high level. I will not want to call their name for their groups to be under pressure, but we are already working with every single person towards against a single enemy. And I hope that things will be better going forward. The Savannah States is the Savannah States, not the Savannah Zone. And I want just to say that people also call it this different name. And for now, that is the name that we call it in the Ambazonia Defense Forces, is the Savannah States. It's made up of 7 states in what we used to call the Northern Zone. Our morals are high. The infighting have basically stopped. The incident that happened in Bangui, where this guy who is a university graduate, for goodness sake, was picked up by Dada, one of these county by county guys. They said they want to kill him because he want to set up ADF camp in Bangui. We actually had the biggest camp in Bangui there. It's just sad to see these boys killing each other. But we have tried to bring in some sanity there, and I hope the Southern Zone or the Atlantic states will be catching up. We saw the incident that happened in Mamfe. It was very sad in most of those areas there that Tapang Ivo is working on it as well. So we hope that things will be becoming more better. We'll be having less and less of this incident. I can promise Ambazonians that if we have the resources that we have, because sometimes we have motivational factors by providing ammunition. But what we are trying to work on right now on the ground is not to depend so much to have the best army, but to manage the few resources that we have already on the ground to be very effective with them, so that our soldiers are not intoxicated by, oh, you want to promise me, so now give me a stick, will never give stick. When I sing granite for this side, when I never sing granite. So we are focusing on strengthening the 4 pillars of the revolution, which does not really need a lot of granite and sticks to do that. If we can get those 4 pillars standing, then the self-defense now, they can have more energy to focus the small resources we have effectively to pursue the policy that Dr. Cho have laid out, which is called the takeover, which will engage, which will actually have a series of operations.
Has been over way long ago. So you
yeah,
want to round up,
let me just conclude that one. We
Okay.
have some operations. We have operations that are already being worked out. They have already finished the planning and everything is ready to go, which is going to involve taking out La République du Cameroon from specific states in Ambazonia, completely out of it. Whether we are going to hold it for long or not, that will be determined by General Efang, who is on the ground, but the military operations will be starting soon. La République du Cameroon, they have the intelligence already. They know that we are coming for them. And anybody who is in ground zero serving under La République du Cameroon army, you better leave that place. You don't want to die for a diaper-wearing dictator. And I'm calling on all the other forces on ground zero to work hand in hand and see each other as people fighting for the same goal. And that is going to facilitate everything for everybody.
Thank you so much, Comrade Kapo. Jesse, so there has been a whole lot of fighting amongst our freedom fighters on ground zero. And this has led to the death of so many young men, aspiring young men, and women that are fighting to defend homeland. Do you think, and we all understand that most of these fighters were within the county by county or LGA by LGA system. Do you think that this county by county system has been the best for the Amazonian people with relations to defending ground zero?
Thanks. The county by county scenario is it's not as simple as that. It's not about defense, unfortunately. It was manipulated to be a defense scheme by the people that wanted control. But before I even get to the county by county, this is what I have to say. I don't think that our boys on the ground are fighting because of some county rules. That is not the cause of the fighting on ground zero. The cause of the fighting on ground zero is the need for diasporan generals to take control, to be in control of certain territories. It is not about the fact that I'm in County A and you're in County B and so we fight. It is about the fact that I'm in County A and someone decides that I want control of County A and then the other says I'm already in County A, so you back out. It is not about the counties. It is not about the county connotation that goes by it. What is the difference between county by county and block by block? A county is a block, for goodness sake. And yet we say that the county by county has a problem, but the block by block doesn't have a problem. To me, that's hypocrisy. The issue is not the county by county. The issue is about those that have voice on the ground, wanting to control ground zero. The question is, why do they want to control ground zero? That should be the question we're answering today. Why are certain individuals or groups scrambling all over to take control of ground zero when there is a huge ground zero for all of us? There is enough territory for all of us to operate in. La République du Cameroon military is everywhere. Why do we feel the need to want to be seen, to be in certain areas or to be in control of certain areas when we can as well just go to the other defenseless communities that have nobody in them?
Mm-hmm.
It is
I have a problem. Can I interject?
Hold on, let her finish her thought. Then I actually have, go ahead, Jesse.
Look, when the county by county model was derived,
mm-hmm.
it wasn't derived as a basis for barricading defense. No, that was used by individuals that want control. Now, you must understand that within this revolution, there are impostors that use divide and rule. Now, these impostors that use divide and rule then use the county by county a system to then create divide, because that is the only way they could stay in power, or they could try to manage certain areas, or they could try to raise funds. That was a model put in place by impostors and greedy leaders in order for them to have funds, because when they put this thing together, the excuse is then counties can fund their defense. But at the same time, they want those same county leaders to give them some of the money that they raise for their defense. So it is not about counties. It is about the fact that people who are greedy, either for money or for power, now use this county philosophy to empower themselves and to enrich themselves.
Capo, you have 2 minutes to interject.
County by county, Savannah by Atlantic, whatever you call it, they are all blocks. Let us not deceive ourselves to think that because we call it a Savannah, whatever you call it, Capo, yeah, that. Because you call it Savannah, or because the other person calls it Atlantic, there is a difference. You know, Savannah is just, it is a combination of counties in a region that you call Savannah. Atlantic is the same. So,
okay, thank you for that thought. I know that. Hold on.
Let me say this.
Hold on, Capo.
It's not your turn to talk.
Capo, hold on. I'm gonna give you your time to interject. But Asu, I know that there are so many things that she has said that you want to rebut. So I'm gonna give you take over once Capo is done.
I will rather Capo respond to this, because that is his area of focus.
Okay, Capo, go ahead.
I just want to say, I think, Ma'am Jesse, you used just the wrong word, because you say that the hypocrisy of calling county by county and the Savannah states as is something that there is no difference. There is a very big difference in calling a place Northwest and Southwest and us terminate something else. That name itself has a power and have an impact on our people. And the county by county is not block by block. These names are policy that are being implemented on the ground. And of course, people want to take control of ground zero. To take control is not a bad thing. We want to control our territory because we want liberation. We are fighting to demonstrate to La République du Cameroon that we have taken control of our destiny for our people. It is not for ourselves. It is not for the AGOC or for the interim government. We are fighting to take over control for Ambazonia so that we can have our independence and have our recognition. There's nothing bad about trying to control the territory. Now, county by county, there is a difference between what they say county by county is and what they are implementing it on the ground. I'm talking about the people that had that connotation of Samuel Sarko to impose county by county.
Why are we discussing Samuel Sarko's policies here when he doesn't have?
I'm talking about county by county. He is having county. When we have the battle going on in Bui County, what they call Bui County, it is Samuel Sarko's policy of the county by county. These are not those terminology. These are actual policy. When we talk about the Boyo County, the implementation of that policy by the guy in Germany is actually the policy that Samuel Sarko is describing as county by county. When we talk about the one in Mesa, and we see the attempted assassination of General Cross is the policy. When we see Manfe, the arrest of the ADF soldier, it is the policy. When we see in Lebialem, the killing of 9 ADF soldiers, shooting them on the head and throwing them inside the river.
This is county by county. You are talking about, so that's why I refer to impostors. That's why I refer to impostors.
Yeah,
now you're discussing an impostor's policy. We are not
having a fight with people who wants to mobilize resources in ground zero.
So why are we discussing
the problem we are talking about, let me finish. The problem we are talking about is the county by county that have the policy of exclusivity. That means people who want to claim that they have exclusive policy, exclusive control over specific areas that have been designated as county, and ban other group from functioning in that group. And the idea that Jesse said that, the idea that you said, Jesse, is very offensive to our men and women on the ground that I serve, that they can go to other areas that are not defended and defend those areas. For goodness sake, the guy that Dada had in Bangui is a Meta boy. He's from Meta. Tapang Ivor is from Lebialem. The ADF soldiers that were being killed in Lebialem are all children of Lebialem. General Araki is from Boyo. He's from Com. He's from Ginicom. He was arrested in his area. So why will you tell somebody to go and fight somewhere else? That language should not be from the mouth of any revolutionary.
I think you're misunderstanding what Jesse said.
No, I am not misunderstanding. I'm addressing a specific thing. I'm addressing a specific thing that you said. That why don't
me and you are
all right? Okay, guys, hold on.
No, Capo Daniel.
Because this is a public court.
Okay, can I have the
argument
Abu Fri, you can, but if Capo doesn't stop misinterpreting me, I'm going to have to interject.
Okay, guys, hold on.
Okay, you interpret what you said, but this is exactly what
no,
this
let Abu Fri.
Why don't?
Comrade Capo,
Let me ask you a direct question.
No, Capo Daniel, you don't do that.
Let me ask you a direct question.
will ask the question.
Jesse.
Wait,
did you or did you not say
that
it will be fair enough. You have a chance to respond. I'm actually stopping what I was saying just to ask you. No. So you
let me first of all correct
let me help ask that question.
Let me ask you a direct question.
No, come on, Daniel. You asked the question. Now listen, right?
I haven't asked. Okay,
then wait. Let me correct you first. Then maybe you can correct your question.
So let us get it clear.
No, you don't misinterpret me and then ask me a question on the misinterpretation. It doesn't work.
All right, I had to mute both of you because I need you all to, pay attention. And we cannot be going back and forth while I'm asking you all to just give me the time to get everything straightened out. I personally think that you actually misquoted Comrade Comrade Jesse, which is why I wanted you to give her that opportunity so that she can clarify what she said before you go ahead and continue with what you were saying. So, Comrade Jesse, please go ahead and clarify him.
Okay, thank you for unmuting me. Capo, please don't interject. Okay, so what I was saying is this, and what I said initially. I said that the problem that we have on Ground Zero is that our boys on Ground Zero are manipulated by people in the diaspora, because some people in the diaspora want control of certain.
I didn't talk about.
I'm talking about what I said. I'm not talking about you here.
But you were talking about what I said. You said.
I'm repeating what I said, and then I'm going to give you the interpretation of that. So what I said was this: when I refer to people going to unprotected communities, no. I have not in any statement of mine said that county by county and that so-called exclusivity rights thing that the Sako imposters claim is right. I have not said that. I have not implied that. I haven't insinuated it. Actually, I am totally against that, because there is no reason why I cannot leave Momo and defend my people in Meza. Absolutely no reason. So for you to try to actually twist my words to make them sound like that is what I was implying is what is wrong. When I said that people can go and defend undefended communities, is simply saying this: Ambazonia is big enough to accommodate everybody. Now, if I am, for example, coming to Bengui, and there is a defense group in Bengui that tells me we have Bengui under control, right? I will say, okay, can I pass through Bengui and go to Njikwa?
That would not be fair.
So I am not saying that you are restricted. You are reconstructing. I said don't interject.
I've not actually,
please.
I've not actually disputed what you're saying.
I agree with that people have exclusive rights to their counties. I did not imply that. Actually
agree with you.
Nobody has any exclusive right over an inch of Ambazonia. Every Ambazonia has the right over the whole territory of Ambazonia. It is as simple as that. And when I say that imposters,
I agree with you. But this is what I was talking about.
Is by saying that the Sako gang use the county by county concept as a way of enriching themselves and trying to cause divide and control. That is what I said.
Let's hear from Capo.
Can I talk now?
Policy that I'm not part of.
All right.
I agree with you. I agree with you totally about what you have just said. But I was talking about a specific statement that you said, that why can people not go to other unprotected counties and defend them? And you have repeated the same thing again and saying that if people come to an area where one group is in control, why they don't go to another area? You are implying or trying to, that statement can be misconstrued as justifying the claim that they are making that the one group should go and fight in a...
Just say it as I said. Don't misconstrue.
Let me just finish. I've agreed with what you have said broadly, and I'm saying that I was speaking into a specific point when you said that people should go to other places to fight.
I'm saying like Amazonia is big enough, Baba. Take that as a closing statement. Amazonia is big enough.
I know you can do it.
Amazonia is big enough. I have my grandmother in the village. She also needs defense.
Jesse has said that Amazonia is big enough.
Can we hear Comrade Asu's thoughts?
It will be no point if I cannot talk. Let's be at least civil. We have the right to go to and forth, but let's be civil at one point.
Right, and so I'm glad you said you all need to be civil. Okay, yeah, I'm glad you all said you need to be civil. Again, let me remind you all, we still have some more questions to ask. Yes, I'm gonna have.
Can I say it's very crucial? It's very crucial that I say this. I was speaking to a specific thing. I agree with what everything Jesse was saying about people have the Amazonia is big and everything, but there is just one point that he said people should go to other places which are not well defended, and I believe that by principle we should defend every area, and particularly the areas that are not.
That's the whole
defended.
point.
Yeah. So, but this is a rationale that these people have. I give you an example. The ADF.
Which people?
The people who are advocating the county by county that
the people are not here, Capo Daniel. So please use my words. Don't use the people's words to interpret mine. Why are you using their policy to interpret my words?
You alone, Jesse. We are talking about country. It's not about you. It's not about me. We can discuss about issue that affects our entire revolution.
You are discussing Sarko's policy, which is not my position. You are discussing Sarko's policy.
I am not supposed to be limit. I'm not supposed to limit myself to what you have said.
So I think that I think I've muted both of you. So I think that you all are misconstruing yourselves. You know, JC is making it known that basically it is okay for fighters to fight wherever because Amazonia is owned by all of us. Comrade Capo, I understand how, I understand that you're trying to, explain what she said, but basically, Jesse is just saying that people can fight wherever they want to fight because Amazonia is Amazonia and Amazonia is for all of us. So let people be allowed to fight wherever they want to fight. Comrade Asu.
Yes, please.
Can you say something on this?
Yeah, let me add to what both Jesse and Capo have said. Jesse, you have some really valid points. I think the way Capo is looking at interpreting what you've said, it's probably, as I've said, from his defense observation, it may seem as if you're telling other groups, hey, those other ones already here. Probably that's how Capo has perceived it. You have some really valid points. The county by county strategy, in its selling proposition, it was supposed to be a fundraising model.
Yeah.
Okay. Designed to cash strap Dr. Ayaba and Dr. Akwanga from the social funds, from the public funds of the Amazonian people. That was the whole scheme in terms of its conception and its selling points. Okay. So if we design this model under this interim government, Akwanga and Ayaba will not have any stake in the game anymore. We'll cash trap them. That was the whole premise. That was the whole hidden agenda behind it.
That was the whole Sarko proposal. Let's be very specific so that I don't get bundled in there, right?
No, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you because you're not the person you're not one of those people that conceived this idea. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole focus and ambitious of that, on the ambition of that plan. Once they conceived it, then they somehow twisted it and then linked it up to become a self-defense strategy in order for them to do the same thing. We will control the money in the diaspora. to get all these communities to only donate within their communal structures. And then if you only from that part of that county, which we've not had any institution, the Ambazonian people have not decided how Ground Zero is going to be structured and how it's going to be called. So we're going to absorb this name from the United States of America and call it this. And then if you are from a certain district, we will call you local government. So we borrow from Nigeria. Good. Linguistically, it sounds good. What it did was to fall into the poor bear trap of divide and rule over the Ambazonian people. It tore the revolution apart, divided people against each other, and they took that mentality from the diaspora, they translated it onto the territory. This is where our problems began. So there is a difference between the block by block approach and the county by county approach. The county by county approach in their operational strategy application of this is to stop whoever is not from that area to fight within that area. Whereas the block by block said, look, wherever you are in Ambazonia, defend that block and work with the next block in order to protect that block. And if there is a problem in another block and you have the ability and the resources, you can move to any block and defend it. The block by block is an open concept where you can leave the southern zone and you can carry out an action in the southern zone. You move in the southern zone because you've been sought after in the southern zone. You move into the northern zone and immediately you are in the next block where you are on, where you can be able to defend that block, work with the other forces within that block. Yeah. There was no restriction for anybody. And that's why General Igbo could cross the territory and all the states in Ambazonia.
And that's how it should be.
And that's how it should be. So what we are facing today is the Bui incident. It's a primary example, a core manifestation of the dark side of this policy.
I agree. I'm not
we will be looking up to you for solutions to these things in terms of integrating these boys to get out of this diaspora ideology that is being implanted on the ground, as Jesse rightly said, for people that want to control territory. Because that was the whole game. The whole game was a political expediency that if I control enough territory and I tell Pobia that I control this county, I control that county, I will be the person to go negotiate with Pobia. That was the whole fucking game.
Yeah, I think the moderator, you have not been fair to me. I will say that on the record. But I will say this. I have lost very good friends in this battle who died in 2018. We lost close to 800 youths that were called to assemble themselves in schools and offices to collect tax. We had a whole kidnapping for ransom that have been just gone out of control because of these people who have brought in this thing called model of county by county. I'm completely pissed off. Every time somebody suggests that an Ambazonian should not fight in one area and should go and fight in another area for whatsoever reason, they will make that decisions by themselves. The idea that they have that it is exclusive is just a cover. The idea of county by county has nothing to do with fundraising, because when they sold it, we have seen it unveiled in Ground Zero, that it has nothing to do with fundraising. Dr. Akwanga have testified, we have had leaked audios coming out. It was something specifically to kill the ADF and Sokadef. And we have seen it in Bui, where they are telling the ADF, don't fight in Bui, must you be in Bui? But those people are people from Bui. They came to Bangui. They were telling people, don't fight in Meta. We don't want Meta people. And there are people from Meta. They go to Bali. It is the same Bali boys. They are telling, don't fight in Bali. They go to Boyo. They are saying, don't fight in Boyo. Go and fight somewhere else. And then they'll turn and ask you, where is ADF? ADF, where is ADF? We have kicked them out. That is the main point. So we have to have this clear. Every force on Ground Zero have the rights to assemble themselves and fight wherever La République du Cameroon still occupies it. You will collaborate with the forces that are already in that area. And in the case of Bui, the ADF is a dominant force in Bui. In most of those areas, the ADF is a dominant force in those areas. But it does not mean that they have exclusive right to fight in that area. Any force that is in Ambazonia fighting for Ambazonia, so long as La République du Cameroon have a military outpost there, they should collaborate with their brothers. Nobody should tell people their priority. Every group have their ideology, they have their priority. If the AGOC at one point, General Kapora is also a very good guy. I call him the Lion of Bui. If they think that they have a priority to attack and focus in Manfe, then that should be their priority. I cannot tell them you should go and fight in this other area that is not being manned. I'm just saying that not specifically to you, Jesse, but there is this idea that they have been pushing on social media that why should you not go and fight in this area that is not that is being peaceful? Go and fight in this area. So we want to make it very clear, for the sake of those boys we lost in 2018, that in this revolution, nobody should ever tell another soldier, you don't have to fight here, you must go and fight here. Let that determination be made by their military commanders, and let us in the diaspora, we just assist them and facilitate the collaboration between them. And no, Jesse, you mean no harm by making that statement, but the statement you made that people could go and fight in other areas. You said
Are you still on that?
I'm still on that, because what we say on social media have serious ramification on ground zero. People can come out and just say it is tolerable, it is just a simple word, but it actually sets the stage. We have mobilized our people, we have recruited forces on ground zero on social media. So please, my sister, I know you meant no harm. You didn't mean to say that there is exclusive zone, but I'm just insisting that we should not get into the business to tell soldiers go and fight somewhere else.
Please go ahead. I know you wanted to in the first place, so go ahead.
Capo, I think for some reason you are deliberately or intentionally misquoting me, and I'm failing to understand. No, let me finish. I did not interrupt you.
I'm not misquoting you. We can go back and
let me respond.
I can use another phone and play.
Let me respond.
Let me respond. Let's hear.
No, please don't cut me off. You said, Jesse, that people can still go to other places that are not at peace and fight. That's what you said.
Capo, look, I measure my words, especially when I'm on shows like this. I can guarantee you. This is what I said. There are a lot of undefended territories and communities in Ambazonia. Ambazonia is big enough to accommodate all the soldiers. Ambazonia.
Talk about what I'm disputing, not about what I agree. I agree with that.
That's you, because you're already saying that I said there are exclusive territories.
I did not say that.
What I said on this show, let me say what I'm
going to let the two of you have it.
Because you want to.
I didn't say that. You said there are exclusive.
Let me finish, Capo Daniel. What I said was this: every Ambazonia has a right to fight and defend Ambazonia anywhere, anytime. I did not even for 1 second defend any exclusivity of defense of any particular region. I did not do that. What I simply said, I did not do that, Capo Daniel. So let me finish.
Don't dispute what I'm agreeing with you.
We cannot sleep on these guys.
Jesse, let me ask you.
Capo Daniel, here's the thing. In order for our listeners not to be confused,
behind me.
In order for our listeners not to be
ask you a specific question.
Let him ask the question. Jesse, hold on.
Jesse,
let's listen to the question.
And let us leave this thing behind. Jesse, did you not say soldiers could go and fight in other places where there are no fighting there?
Okay, let me ask you another question.
I just want to hear yes or no.
You will answer a question for me. What is wrong with that statement?
What is wrong with that statement is you are playing into the narrative where they are saying that why should specific force fight in one area? Why they don't go and fight in one area? Because they are not wanted in that area.
No. Capo Daniel.
Let her explain what she meant by that.
Capo Daniel,
let her explain what she meant by that, please.
All right. What I said was this. If you have a block that is already being defended, there are a lot more of undefended blocks. If I were a defense guy and block A has been defended, I will move to block B that is undefended. That is the simplest explanation I can give you for what I said. I did not say that because Jesse is here, Abu Fri should not be there. I simply said, if Abu Fri is already successfully defending block A, I will go to block B. That means
that is not what I'm contesting.
No. I do not care what you think. I am telling you what I said. So just listen to what I said. No, it is not about what you think here.
All right.
It's about what I said.
I'm saying what you said.
No, every Ambazonian soldier has a right to fight wherever.
All right, we have to move on. We cannot dwell here.
Jesse, I want to ask you, Abu Fri, because you are the moderator. Did you or did you not hear Jesse says that troops could go to other places and fight? That is all I want to hear. I don't care about the
explained exactly what I mean.
No, I don't want about the explanation. I'm just asking you, Jesse, did you or did you not say that?
She did say, and she explained. She did. And
I don't want to hear the explanation.
Why
I want to be sure.
No, because if she doesn't explain it, you will misconstrue what she said, which is the rationale behind her explaining why she said that.
I am not going to say something here just so that you can have a recording. That's not my problem.
No, I am asking you that.
No, listen. You record and go play it wherever. But the point is this: every Ambazonian soldier has a right to fight on any territory in Ambazonia. That is my closing remark.
I'm not disputing that. If block A is well defended, this is the problem we have.
No, it's not the problem we have. The problem is you misinterpreting.
Okay, so I'm gonna take over. No, Capo, let me say something. And I understand Capo. I understand what your concern. I understand your concern, Capo. I understand your concern, my dear brother. I really do. I understand your concern, and if I did not clearly understand what Jesse meant, I would have taken up an issue with that as well. But I think she has made it clear. You know, she just made it clear that she's okay with fighters fighting wherever they want to fight, wherever. And I think that is what matters, right? So we can move on from there with the fact that Jesse is saying that freedom fighters can be, you know, they can locate themselves anywhere and fight anywhere on ground zero. I think that is okay with you, isn't it?
Can we move on, please?
Yeah.
Mute me and you're asking me that how can
no, I just want us to understand that
what Jesse has made a good point, which I agree with the point. But Jesse had said something that he's saying he didn't say.
Daniel, you want to have the last word on this because you want to go on record as me having said something that I did not say.
Let's move on, please.
Right,
let's
so,
move on.
No, that is being dishonest.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to do.
Don't
and it doesn't fly with me. If you want to ask me, what's my explanation?
Guys, we are running out of time.
For what you say.
But we are running out of time.
Listen to my explanation.
Abu Fri, as a moderator,
I don't want to be disrespectful and mute you guys again.
All right,
I don't want to be disrespectful and mute you all again.
From misinterpreting
this is not a big deal.
No, it's not a big deal, and that is why I was kind of, you know.
I agree with her. I agree with her explanation. I'm okay with her explanation. It's actually on the same point, but she's refusing that she didn't say the things that she said, and I have a problem with that. When you say something, you own it and say that this is what I actually meant.
Did I say that? I owned it and I explained it. I am not afraid of
Jesse, you have refused. You have actually refused that you said it.
And I explained it. If you say that, my explanation, that is entirely your problem.
Move from one place to
another. Move on, guys. We have viewers that want to carry on with the show.
You talk about exclusion.
Go ahead.
Comrade Capo, let me come to you, please, since you are the deputy defense chair. So with regards to the 23 or more, I think, young men that were kidnapped or you know, captured by the Bui warriors in Bui, what is their status? Do we have any clue what is happening with them? We just saw General Efang, so we definitely would love to know more about that.
Yeah, what happened is it's a very sad thing that happened that we saw unfold in Bui. General Efang, who was on a mission to distribute weapon across the territory, he was supposed to come right to Buabua in Boom, where I hail from. and give some weapons to the warriors, the Red Seas of Ambazonia, a new group that had been already on training, and they were waiting for those weapons. Unfortunately, they were intercepted on false premises again, that they were coming there to attack the Bui warriors and all those stuff. They were picked up and attempted to execute him. He disappeared there. He magically disappeared with some mystical power that he had. And he appeared in the house of one Mexican man who gave the medicine to protect Chacha. And these are traditional things I don't expect you guys to understand. But that Mexican man catch him. He appeared there, and the Mexican man saw that he was clean. That's why they shoot him. The bullet did not penetrate his skin. It just touched the nkanda. The Mexican man allowed him to go back. He disappeared, and he appeared in the place that they prepared them together with General Ivor. They have a strict rule that General Efan cannot shoot any civilian. He cannot kill a civilian. He cannot kill another Ambazonian fighter. That is the rule of that medicine. And because Chacha tried to kill him, that medicine man removed the protection that our ancestors have over Chacha. That is why La Republic's agents were able to kill Chacha. Okay. So the other 23 soldiers that we have, including General Agabe, who is a general in Bafut, his children are crying. These are people that we were counting on for the overall takeover. They were point people. I mean, in our critical calculation, those guys were not a group of the contender force as we put it out there. They were actually a collection of various teams that had special training to execute our plan. They were all picked up. And from what we knew, on Saturday, where they released some civilians that were being kept in Kikakom, where they were being held, they released all of the civilians. I've personally spoken to some of them to gather intelligence about what was going on there. They released them, seized all the mobile phones of their fighters, and they took part of those soldiers, 23 soldiers, they divided them into 3 groups and kept them in different areas. Unfortunately, there was a raid in that area by, we believe still, some elements of La République du Cameroon troops who have infiltrated that particular groups. And we also believe from our intelligence sources that they are soldiers that are from the direct relatives of Chacha. And we believe those were the people that killed him, because I personally spoke to Chacha when he executed General Fon, and I gave him our analysis from our own intelligence guys, our forensic guys who studied that picture, and they said that the person who killed Chacha, who killed General Fon, probably have a personal issue with General Fon. Either they suggested it could be 2 possibilities. Either that person is part of those Amber boys who were recruited into B that have returned, that were recruited a year ago, 2018, and they have sent him to infiltrate that group, and they instructed him to kill Chacha in revenge of the people that the army that he shot them on. He was shooting headshot. Yeah, so they thought that was a personal hatred for Chacha, to kill Fon. Or secondly, it could be a family member. It could be somebody who have a personal problem with him out of the struggle that killed him. And when I spoke to Chacha, I gave him that information. I could tell he didn't agree, but I could tell that something came to his mind, and probably that is why he extracted those people that were involved and went with them in the GBHS in where he died. I don't want to give those specific location. They're probably because they were his family members and he wanted to handle it by himself, and they probably killed him. That is what we believe happened. That is what our expert believe happened, because he had the intelligence already and he did not share it with most of his soldiers, probably because he knew the people. And it's unfortunate that he died. We lost a brave soldier. We always cry for the death of General Chacha, an amigo. And this is what happened when our soldiers behaved that. So for those 23 soldiers, their family, their wives, their community, their soldiers are still mourning. Ambazonia still stands with them. We want them to be accounted for. We are asking for Mr. Elvis, who is running the show from Europe, to please, for goodness sake, no amount of money can buy you. We know that even from the example of Kawa Kawa, that even La République du Cameroon have to station somebody to monitor him, because they know that the amber blood in him can kick in one day. I pray that the amber blood in Elvis should kick in, and he should have mercy for those boys that are in their keeping. Even they have given him.
What I don't understand is the fact that we sit in the diaspora and we have boys on the ground who are actually fighting, freedom fighters. We sit in the diaspora in the comfort of our living rooms, and we pass others for young men that are fighting on the ground to be slaughtered. That is what I truly don't understand. And we have people that are clapping and supporting these talks. So that is what I truly don't understand. So do we have any idea if these boys are still alive or dead? Do we?
I think the only person that said that they were dead were people that we believe were being given false information to have some leverage when we were doing the negotiation. They had a guy who was doing negotiation from France. He was a middle person. And they understood that we had a contingent of contender forces that were around that area, and some guys that are classified, which were coming out from the diaspora, a group of fighters from the diaspora that were around that area. They were afraid that we were going to intervene militarily to rescue them. So they were deceiving us that those guys had died. But we later on found out they were not dead. I think Eric Tato also had proclaimed that they were killed. I don't have that privilege to get the intel which he had. But we knew that even after Eric Tato said that they were killed, they were still alive. The camp that they were being held initially was burnt down by the people we believe that killed Chacha. So we cannot tell for certain if they are alive or dead, unfortunately.
So what can we do? And any one of you, Lucas or Comrade Jesse, what can we do? What needs to be done to hold these people to account or bring them to book when it comes to, these horrible things that they are doing? We've seen, I mean, when that incident in Bui happened, we heard Comrade, why am I even calling him a comrade? We heard Chris Anu and this guy, Elvis, or I don't know what his name is, and we heard them, talking on their ABC channel that this boy should be slaughtered. Huh? Luis, oh yeah. We heard them talking about, this boy should be slaughtered. We've also seen incidents where, young men that are fighting on the ground have been neutralized by the same people that are, working for this Sako IG. Comrade Lucas or Comrade Jesse, please, either one of you can pick this up. What can we do to stop these people from committing all these atrocities?
Jesse, go ahead, please.
No, I was about to say that I've been talking a while with Capo, so you can take the floor.
Come on, my dear ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jesse. I hope. Please don't take it best, Mr. I'm sorry, Mr.
No, it's not.
Yeah, Jesse, please don't.
Capo, please. Capo, all I ask of you is to extend a cup of palm wine and one bitter cola to Jesse. That's
yes, Jesse,
that's how you do it.
I don't need that. You guys should know me better than that. If things like this were going to offend me, I will not be in the struggle.
I know.
Please.
I'll give you sha instead of palm wine. I'll give you sha.
Yeah.
Comrade Lucas, go ahead, please.
The situation in Bui is part of it's an outcome of the intoxication of the boys on the ground. Here are boys that have rallied themselves, put themselves together before any of these political imposters in our revolution ever thought of self-defense. They've rallied themselves to defend their communities, protect our women and children, and defend Ambazonia for the right reason. So it's a delicate situation where we have to, in my opinion, the community matters. Mm-hmm. The villages surrounding where that incident took place matters. I think it's to rally those communities. Those boys, their camps are within a specific community. They are part of a community. I think for me I think Capo is taking this approach where to mobilize the community to demand for this accountability. We can say all we want in the diaspora. What Sako and Chris Anu are doing, as I've said before, is to impose himself that they have some form of control of that territory for political expediency, to be seen as the people that control ground zero from a diplomatic perspective, so that they think that by them doing that, they will have diplomatic asset to be the primary people that the international could be seen as controlling the revolution. This is the whole fucking game. This is the drama where they are using the lives of our precious fighters in order to score political diplomatic points to be seen as the voice of the Ambazonian revolution. Unfortunately for them, it's not playing out for them because they thought they could immediately go negotiate with Pobia. The whole thing has fallen off. Their HD Swiss cheese has melted. What you see is a cry of adults living in the diaspora, jobless adults feeding on the blood of Ambazonians living in the diaspora and crying for their feeding bottles. That's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's a host of frustrated bastards.
So this bunch of frustrated bastards, as you call them,
I like that language.
They have people, I mean, they've amassed people that are actually listening to them and actually taking them serious, you know. And looking at the comment section right here, I can see some people actually, you know, actually believe in some of these imposters that we have in this struggle. I don't know, some people see that they are, you know, they're Republic agents, but we have Ambazonians that actually believe, you know, in this rhetoric that these people come out and, you know, and tell the Ambazonian people. How do we change the mindset of our people to be able to identify true leadership, to be able to identify honesty when they say it? Is it possible? Jesse?
How do you think? How do we get to a point?
Oh,
never did I knew.
It is quite possible. It is very, very possible. Remember, we have 2 channels right now going to Ground Zero.
Mm-hmm.
We have the SCBC, which beams on Ground Zero, and we have the La Republique CRU TV called the Alphabet TV, controlled by Chris Anu, right? Beaming on Ground Zero. When you feed people enough garbage, they start to think garbage. They start to speak garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. That's what it is. And so they have.
We have come to. I never knew we would be in a situation where people will be praying that Siseko Ayuk Tabi for all people will die. That people will pray that Siseko Ayuk Tabi will die. That people will pray that Ayabasho should die. People will pray that people like me and JC and people who are just struggling to help the country should die. Ambazonia should start to understand that these people are not working for Ambazonia's interests. Either they are being manipulated by La République du Cameroon or they are just Zamzam, as I will call them. It's not comprehensible that a normal human being will ask a general to neutralize another general. It is not normal that you ask somebody to kill some other person that are from your area, not for self-defense, but for some political expediency. It is not normal. I refuse to believe that these people are just doing so for power mongering. I believe they are working for La République du Cameroon interest. How will you imagine Chris Anu telling those people to smash those guys? They are boys, for goodness sake. What else would make him to do that? The guys who were killed in Lebialem, 9 of them. 9 of them. The 3 that survived, they came out with the wounds. You could see the chains in their hands. The guy that was first killed by Chacha, a young, nice-looking guy like that, who have an advanced level and could not make it to the university, they tied his hand, beat him up with those bullet wounds. People will see somebody like General Ifan with bullet wounds and they don't feel anything in them.
And some of them still go on ABC TV and calling for him to be killed.
And I think these people should make Siseko and Ayuk Tabi's followers, these 2 leaders, should make our followers to come together. Because when you look at what these guys are doing, you ask yourself, I better argue with Jessica. I better embrace Milan, for goodness sake. The man have the guts to go and open his own organization and bring the people that believes in him. He didn't stay there to start fighting for some virtual power. I rather follow Harmony Pogba. I rather talk with Harmony Pogba. People that are doing what Sako is doing, what Chris Ano is doing. If you guys are still Zamzam enough, then you guys will be responsible to destroying the very things we are fighting. Because to follow this type of people, you are justifying why you are making people to question, why didn't we to make peace with Pobia? It's for the same principle that we have to fight for Ambazonian independence. And for every single day, I will help Atta Milan. When I look at Sako, I tell you, I will help Atta Milan. For those who people don't understand why I am in the interim government, I'm in the egg of C, because I'm two-side collars. You know, our country collars have two sides. You cut both sides and it is more effective. The reason is because I see what these people are capable of doing. And I said, no, I better go and make peace with any other Ambazonian who have a mind, who disagree with me even, but have a heart for our people.
So Jesse, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was thinking one of our comrades on the forum is commenting that now I'm looking better at the roof. Anyway, thank you, comrade, for that comment. Yeah, they've got a sense of humor sometimes. Look,
Diplomat Marjorie, I warn you.
Abu Fri, sorry, I've been. You need to ask me the question again.
No, I was asking. Okay, I don't go.
I was reading the comments and then listening to you guys and thinking a lot of things, because I think you wanted to know what it is we can do.
We can do.
Our voice
these imposters.
This hatred.
Yeah.
Jesse, this is with regards to the 23 boys in.
I want to be very harsh again on.
I know. I understand that it's about Al Capo.
Yeah.
Just a bit of correction, though. My name is not Jessica. My name is Jessie, Jessy. That's it. There's no car to it.
Fire meets fire.
The thing is, the killings between our boys did not start today, right? And I've always wondered, it like Abu Fri says, what goes on in the mind of anybody who sits here and asks the one person to kill one of us. But then I remember what goes on in Chris Anusi's head when he sits in their whatever they call it, in their pastoral IG, and call for the neutralization of Sisiko. What goes on in his head? That's the kind of mindset. Those are some of the kind of people we have in our midst, whether we take it or whether we accept it or deny it. Unfortunately, we have people in our midst who are willing to kill some of us if that is going to leave them standing tall as the only people who are ready to negotiate on behalf of Ambazonia, not necessarily to free Ambazonia, but actually to negotiate on behalf of Ambazonia. As to what they will negotiate is a topic I really do not want to get into. We have those people. We have women in this revolution.
Thank you for
that sit and call for parents of children, to call for fathers, call for mothers that are incarcerated to perish in jail.
Yeah.
We have people in this revolution that actually curse the same boys that have given their lives for Ambazonia. I mean, boys that have already even passed away. There are people who say insult General Ivo.
Tell you.
I think about that and I wonder why Patterson will not see the devils that we have in this revolution to call out, but will rather waste his energy calling on an external force, the devil, when we have internal devils. I don't know if they're even devils or it's just Satan that is split into many bodies, but we have those. We're not able to face them. We're not able to call them out because we are afraid that social media is going to come after me. And yes, I've seen all the Sako guys writing in the Facebook comment section. By all means, go for it. Hey? You can insult me from here to tomorrow. It's not going to change. The fact is we have demons in this struggle that are killing our own for power. Demons, oh boy. Demons in this struggle that are willing to sacrifice our children for some political position and for their upkeep.
Yeah.
We have people in this revolution. Chris Arnold will sit and ask for 23 young boys to be assassinated in cold blood. And some of the guys on Ground Zero didn't do it. The question is why? There is so much manipulation within the struggle. And the way I've come to understand that what people generally call now peaks, which refers to Pastor's IG, the way it functions is that it goes to, yeah, Abu Fri, that's the name I got on social media, don't blame me. It goes to, this pastoral IG goes to our boys on Ground Zero and offers them position in a government that they do not have. They offer them positions in a country that we don't have. They give them titles. They promise them stuff. And to top it all, they are told that in order for them to get those, they will have to do ABC. Some of the boys on the ground are frustrated. Some of them are confused. Some of them are already suffering from the trauma that they see on the ground. Their friends are being gunned down every day. Some of them are not enlightened enough to actually distinguish between manipulation and truth. Some of them don't distinguish. Some of them are just fighting to protect communities, and they really do not understand what revolutions are all about. But our people, the manipulative people that we have in this revolution, take advantage of that every single day. They would rather send these guys $50 for them to go and buy marijuana and consume it so that they can keep manipulating them, rather than equip them to properly defend these communities. What we can do, we need a defense structure. We need an Ambazonian defense structure that has a very organized chain of command. Nobody in the diaspora has the right to just pick up the phone and call a general. There needs to be a command of structure, which I see that no organization has successfully put, because even the AGOVC or the defense of the IG, a lot of people have contact numbers directly with these guys, and they're giving them instructions and telling them stories, which should not be the case. Where is the chain of command that our guys are supposed to have and follow? When you have that chain of command and you limit communication with everybody else, and that's how it works in every defense team in the world, then you limit this unnecessary confusion and casualties that we face. We need a chain of command. We need a structure. We need a unified defense structure with that chain of command. I don't care how you guys do it. I'm not in there, but do it.
Capo, do you have anything to say with regards to?
Before you finish, the second thing we need
hold on.
is education.
Okay.
We need to come up with ways of educating our boys on the importance of patriotism, why they're fighting, not who they're fighting for. It's what they're fighting for and not who they are fighting for. The moment our people understand that they are fighting for something, for homeland, and not for individuals, then that is going to shift the mindset. They will question certain instructions that they have. Is this thing beneficial for Ambazonia? Why am I going after a fellow brother? So education, a chain of command, and we need to start naming and shaming. One of the things with Ambazonians is that we have very short-term memories, very short-term. If I do something in the revolution, if I did something 2 months ago, and today I come out and make a very nice speech, nobody is going to remember the criminal thing that I did that affected the revolution so much 2 months ago. We have such short-term memories that we forget about manipulations that we face throughout the revolution, and that's why we are still being able to be manipulated, or some people are still being able to be manipulated by others. So we need to be able to have a record of people that with evidence, this is not a witch hunt situation, but with evidence, people that came out on live TV and called for our boys to be murdered and all of this. We need to maintain a name and shame list.
You'll be the next host of the No Connie Talk show.
Couple, please.
I have something very important to say.
We are going to be rounding up soon, so please make your thoughts.
Couple, please invite Jessie to your No Connie Talk show the next time.
She has just delivered my opening statement in all my No Connie Talk show. Jessie, you'll be the next host of the No Connie Talk show.
All right.
Jessie, go shake your head. Go ahead.
Let me add something to what Jessie has said. Jessie, you're right in the way that our soldiers need to be educated. And this is where I thought that was what SCBC was created for. I thought SCBC was created to educate our people on the revolution. To, as you said, not for who you're fighting for, but for what you are fighting for. So you being here, it's important for us to have this conversation. Because the CRU TV Part 2, which is Chris Anu's TV, I call it CRU TV Channel 2. It's meant to intoxicate and poison the minds of our people. It's an instrument of hate. It's an instrument of destruction. And that's why I believe it is a poor bias program. That's my belief. It's just an absolute belief based on my own assessment in terms of what it's doing to our people on the ground, in terms of the kind of intoxication and poison that they put on the minds of our people on the ground. So SCBC has a role to play on this. They have a role to increase their educational program, their debate program, not for who I'm fighting for, but what I fight for. So there's a solution. Number one, SCBC. Number two,
3 a.m. in Hong Kong.
I think Dr. Cho's radio's program of the AGOVC. The Amazonian people should have a radio that reach people, that reach all those fighters that don't have satellite dishes. That program is right now in working. We need a little bit of funding to get that program. If we have the necessary funding within the next 2 weeks, our parents, those boys on the ground in every camp, will be able to listen to an alternative voice. We need an alternative voice that will water down and wash out this garbage from CRU TV Channel 2 called ABC TV of Chris Anu. The education. So, Capo, you also have a role to play on this.
Yeah.
The ability to reach out to those groups.
Now, I want to say this because
the ability to reach out to those groups, the ability to give them a better perspective of what they are, whether it's county by county. Every single commander that I speak with, there is one thing I talk to them about. Even when they call to want to join the ADF, I first of all telling them, you're not joining to fight for ADF or to fight for Dr. Ayabacho. Your primary objective is to protect the community for which you exist in, to defend the women and children, defend yourself. Ambazonia, when you do those things, now you fight for Ambazonia. Once we continue to give them this education, we can overturn the intoxication. It's very easy for us to do it. But we need voices like the Jessies, we need voices like the Capo, we need voices like the Ab, we need voices that can do this. We need people that can do daily audios. I'm guilty of this. Something I'm guilty. I'm not good in doing audios, but it's something I'm going to learn.
Okay.
So we can do it.
Can I say something that I can't just
to fund the radio station? Ambazonia radio station need your funding for us to turn the tides.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Lucas. Capo, please go ahead. And we are going to be rounding up soon, guys. So.
Okay, we have to run. I think my alarm I've closed it like some 4 times. It's already 3 a.m. in Hong Kong now. Yeah. The thing is, we risk out of our good intention. Sometimes we risk playing into the hands of the enemy, who are running a propaganda machine on the fact that our soldiers are not well educated. They are being manipulated with promises, like Kadinatumi said the other day, like the so-called my country people said the other days that they have been manipulated with all these things. We risk that even in our good intention to play into that game, and they will come back and take excerpt of this show and they'll go and play to justify that narrative. But what is happening on the ground with our boys killing each other, it has nothing to do with education, poor education. I don't believe that it has something to do with education or even the issue about just people sending them money to buy drugs and taking drugs. It has nothing to do with those drugs. Even like Republic of Cameroon, their military take drugs and they go through trauma in war that they sometimes do need to smoke marijuana to relax. But I will say this, what is happening on ground zero, from my experience, from Bui to Mamfe to Mutengene, right up to across our territory where we're having this thing, even in the land of Meta, what is happening is there are some generals who have been doing the business of longhand before. They have the propensity to turn this struggle into what they were doing. I'll give you an example, the guy in Dada. I'll give a new case so that people don't think that I'm going after any group. I'll give you the example of Dada. Dada had set up a structure in Bangui where he was collecting money for people who want to open their shop on the Ghost Town Day. He has set up his own, he used the issue of county by county to set up a system where he was extorting money and undermining the revolution. And basically that was his main motivation to stay in control of Bangui. And he was afraid that if the ADF have to activate their camp there and come to that area of that market, they are going to spoil his business. So Samuel Sako, who have a history of conman, he prey on this type of general, like General Amigo, who had a long hand before. I know him personally in Boy, who had a long hand before. Anybody who knows him will tell you he had a long hand. That's one of the reasons he was kicked out of Boy. I love him. He has everybody who has sacrificed for our struggle, no matter your background. I pay you homage for that. But he preys on this type of people, and he used them. The same like General Commando, who have bought a very big house in Nigeria. People like General Nambere, who have been exploiting this struggle, taking money to buy weapons and use it for their personal use. They ploy on these people who are susceptible and use them for this type of things. It's not about drug. It's not about the other things. You see people like General Arki, who are using their own personal money to buy weapons. You see people like General Efang, who is using his own personal money. He has sell his business to buy weapons. You see General Popo, you see General Kapora, you see the guy who was arrested in Bengu, who is a university graduate. We have a lot of these people who are fighting because they know the injustices our people are facing. They have seen their entire village burned down, and they know that they can easily run to Nigeria and seek asylum. They can go to Dubai and seek asylum, but they have made a deliberate decision that it is more honorable to face the bullet and live for the next generation to survive. And these are the true fighters who are fighting in Amazonia. And so long as we stay on principle, I will say something that may anger everybody here. That is what I always do anyway. I have my friendship don't last for long. I'll say something. I will start the blame. Yeah, I will start the blame with the leadership that was kept out of Zaria. The leadership who had the mantle to supervise the governing council, the leadership council that included Dr. Chuayaba, Dr. Beneza Kwanga, and all those leaders. They had a system where people who were infiltrators started manipulating the system, and they shy away and ran away and left that leadership vacuum. Instead for them to challenge Seseko, who was just taking the room, he was not even in the conclave, and they put him there. People who put him there had an agenda, not that he had an agenda. And Ayabacho and Akwanga, they shy away from the fight. They could have stand up and challenged Seseko that you, as a chairman, you cannot organize a conclave without a mandate from us, but they shy away. And you go down to the other side of the people of Seseko. He knew that he needed the people of self-defense. He tried to reach out to Ayabacho, but there were people within his ranks that were manipulating him and spoiling every initiative he was trying to bring these guys together. And these people in these two camps still exist today. There are people in the AGOPC and in the ADF that no matter how you want to bring other new people to come in, they are resistant. There are people in the IG that no matter what you bring Ayabacho, they have this their idea of a government. Even when Carson Anyangwe will come and explain to them, they don't want to listen. Siseko is having headache, Ayabacho is having headache. Until the people who are so blinded by this group to think that the war is ADF or AGOPC, the war is IG. Hey, it is my Siseko. Hey, it is my Ayaba. These are the people that have allowed people like Sako to succeed. Unless we start to stay on principle, these people will not have any way to go. I agree with Jessica when he said we need that structure. And it should be based on principles, not I like A or I like B, because when you build stronger institutions, we will be able to live even with infiltrators amongst us and they will not be effective. So we should focus on that point of responsibility of all groups.
Capo, let me add to what you say, please. Just 1 minute, moderator, please. Capo, you remember about 4 months ago, I started calling for the interim government of Siseko Ayokabe to appoint a general because I did a study of the problem. Mark Barretta came up with this name of Restoration Forces. He wanted to influence every Ambazonian to adopt the name of all the soldiers on the ground as Restoration Forces. I said, okay, here is the problem. The interim government of Siseko Ayokabe Julius, the caretaker acting president, Yerima, has not come up with a defense, maybe privately, but publicly has not come up with a defense structure to bring all these forces under the interim government. Sako took advantage of this weakness and did his thing publicly. About 4 months ago, when I studied all these things, I said, look, I gave them a public advice. I called the comrade in South Africa, who's now the chairman of whatever, of the doctor, great guy. I said, doctor, I'm holding your ear on the phone. Go meet your people. Create a defense structure and appoint an overall general that will be responsible of the restoration forces. I made many shows and gave this advice. Now imagine the Siseko IG, all those boys on the ground, they have a supreme general, just like the ADF has created a structure. See how easy it would be for us to create this collaboration. They don't listen. Jesse is here today. You are an ambassador. I will still repeat it. The only reason Samuel Sako is taking advantage is because there is a weakness in embracing self-defense from that side publicly.
May I respond, please?
Please, let me talk. Asu.
Abu Fri, may I?
Please go ahead.
Please, Jesse.
Okay, I think that it is.
Jesse, remember we are talking here to solve these problems, right?
No, we are. We definitely are. All I'm saying is that to still come up saying that the IG doesn't embrace or doesn't want to embrace self-defense, to me, I find that funny. The reason is this. From when Siseko took over, even before Siseko took over, during the conclaves, defense was adopted. It was practiced, it has been practiced throughout. To then come out and say that whatever.
By the way, Jesse, just know that we all have the same background. We all were involved. So just,
that's okay. I'm not saying anything that I cannot defend.
Let's not pretend as if some other people were involved. Some other people were involved. We've been involved since 2016.
I'm not saying anything that I cannot defend.
Okay.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is this. The fact that you made a proposal 4 months ago for something to be done, and you haven't had any public notification of that to be done, doesn't mean that there aren't things that are being done. Sako and whatever people that are causing confusion, they are not doing it because someone is not doing his job. They are doing it because our people are vulnerable, our people are easily influenced and easily manipulated. Because no matter how much of a structure you put in place, let me tell you something, there are always going to be those that will be manipulated. And that is why it has come to a point where I say, that I don't feel sorry anymore for anyone that is manipulated by the pastors to give money. I do not. Actually, if they can get you to give them money, by all means, they should get you to give it 10 times that. If you are still falling for that, that is entirely on you, because every information to inform our people has been put out there. But all I'm saying is that our people are who they are. We are who we are. The IG is doing its best in terms of defense. The fact that they have not taken up on your suggestion.
No. Jesse, by the way, I didn't say they should take up.
And
no,
if you were to ask, Comrade Capo is here.
Yes.
Those areas of collaboration that the IG has been discussing with the agency, they're obviously going to be defense, right? So,
definitely. We actually
exactly.
Have
so I am just letting Comrade Lucas to know that the IG is involved, has always been involved in defense and is involved in defense. Just because it doesn't do it the way you do it doesn't mean it's lacking. So yes, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. There is room for improvement for every single one of us individually, as an organization and as a collective. There is room for improvement.
Jesse, I have a question. Jesse, I have a question.
Guys, we are going to be rounding up soon. Please round up your thoughts.
We'll be rounding up. And since you said SBC, I would like to say, Comrade Lucas,
we are having this conversation so that we can solve these problems.
Yes, I'm now going to possible solutions.
Yes, so, let's have the conversation, because we are having this conversation.
So that possible solutions. You've talked about SBC, and I'm going to tell you something. When the backlash on SBC was ongoing, by you know who, La Republique tried for close to 2 years and could not destroy SBC. But it took Sako and Anu and a group of infiltrators to do that internally. And while that was happening, some of you took the back seat. Instead of coming out to defend SBC for what you knew, a whole lot of people who now sit and call on SBC to do the education failed to defend it, failed to fund it, and now you are expecting SBC to have been carrying the message that you wanted to carry the way it should be carried. Now, I'm just saying that there is a collective responsibility.
Because it seems as if you want to take the conversation to another route. By the way, when Sako wanted to destroy SBC, I had the SCBC people. I appeared on SCBC. I fought for SCBC. Capo Daniel is here. So I'm just saying.
Don't take general statements very personal, Comrade Lucas.
Look, I
take statements very personal.
No. I would do things based on principles.
And I say,
it should be clear to everybody. So don't say because I suggested that SCBC
no.
doing more of that.
Listen to what I said.
It should be where were you?
Well, Comrade Lucas, a whole lot of people that expected SBC to do that which you are saying SBC should be doing failed to do what you did. I am saying, generally speaking,
board of director on my show.
I am talking to you, right? So, I am not calling Lucas.
I'm just
saying to Ambazonians. So I'm saying don't take my general statement personal.
No, we're not taking it personal. It's just because we need to have this clarification.
A lot of Ambazonians sit on the sideline expecting, but do not sacrifice for those things that they want to see. That is a general statement. It is not directed at you. And the last thing that we have to do, if we have to win this war and make sure that all these internal squabbles are managed, is information management. Most of our teams, our groups, our leaders still need to master that. In a situation of war, information management is key. Information management is key in winning any war. You keep your strategies close to your chest. I know that there is a fight for funding, and so that kinds of crowds the need of information management sometimes. I understand that. But all I'm saying is that if we are going to actually pursue this war the way it should be pursued, we must learn to manage information. There are certain things that should not be made public. There are certain videos that should not be seen. That's where education comes in and information comes in. There are certain things from our people on Ground Zero that should not be on social media. There are certain speeches that our people, our leaders in the diaspora should not be making. But we do not understand that because everyone wants to be seen as the Oga Pata Pata of them all. Sorry, let me use that.
You don't come down back again now for a correct talk. Anyway, time now.
Yeah, so please, let's close. We've been here for more than 2 hours, so I didn't plan for this show to get this long. But I really do want to. By the way, before we go, I want Jesse to please give us your thoughts about what do you think are the position of or the involvement of women in our war of liberation, please.
Thank you, Abu Fri. I was really hoping you would do this. The thing is, we've come to a point after 3 years or so into the revolution. We have some really brave women that have stood up from the word go, and they have been on this journey till today. And the other truth is that women face certain challenges that are very peculiar to women and in situations like this, in political revolutionary situations like this. And so it is always more challenging for women to get involved with this, apart from our kind of nature. But apart from that, we have societal and we have social challenges that we face. However, we've been able to, some brave women have been able to break these barriers. They've been able to stand up and speak for the people of Ambazonia. They've been able to go out there and fight. They've been able to ensure that information is put out. They've been able to help our injured, carried out humanitarian efforts. They've been involved in diplomacy. There are even some strong women who are involved in defense. However, I believe that the Ambazonian woman has a greater role to play. It is time when women need not to be seen as a support structure. We are not there to mourn when the kids die. Yes, we mourn. We're mourners. Naturally, we mourn whether we're in the struggle or not. We mourn. It's in our nature. We are not there to hand clap the men. We are not there to act as secretaries. We are not there to act as financial secretaries. What else is there? There are a few, and we are not there to act as humanitarian agents.
As humanitarian
I like the way the conversation is going. You said that women are not there to act
as humanitarian agents. I'm not saying that we cannot.
Secretaries, but you guys are secretaries.
No, listen. I'm not saying that we cannot do all of this. All right, we will gladly do all of this that I've listed, but I am saying that we are much more than this. We are much more than where we have been labeled. When we talk about the Ambazonian woman, people think Takumbeng, so they picture us in all these.
Red and white.
Yeah, yes, and we carry our things. That's how the Ambazonian man sees us. When you talk, this is an Ambazonian woman. Oh, they're like, oh, Takumbeng. I'm like, no. That's not what defines me. Yes, I am a woman, but I am much more than that. And I think that, Abu Fri, we've come to a level where we are saying that women need to have their own carved out place in the revolution, not assisting or supporting the male leaders as it is right now, but standing on their own and actually being leaders in the revolution. In other revolutions, women have done that. Women have taken upon themselves, brought themselves together, carried out their own projects, pursued the revolution in their own way, in their own domain, without linking onto the jacket of any male leader. They have become leaders of themselves. They've become revolutionary and political leaders in themselves, by themselves, and for themselves and future generations.
So what are you suggesting for our women?
What I'm suggesting, mainstreaming with Christians.
I need to go up for money time, Master.
Yes, what I'm suggesting is that we have created what is known as the Southern Cameroon Women's League. Now, this is a movement for Ambazonian women that has nothing to do with any organization. It has nothing to do with the IG. It has absolutely nothing to do with Sokadev or EGOV-C or SC, whatever you call them. It has nothing to do with Pastors IG. Absolutely not. It is just for women. It is a global movement of Ambazonian women. It is aimed at projecting the leaders of Ambazonian that are women that we believe have not really had that space to do that. So it's not only going to be projecting, but it's also going to be grooming these women. It's also going to be giving them a political voice. It's going to be giving them a revolutionary voice, so that as a women, we can have a direct impact as just a strong women's wing of the revolution, in the revolution and post-revolution. So that's where we are sitting right now. And every single Ambazonian woman is invited. And of course, there will be a code of conduct in the revolution to say that there are certain things that we would not support. Factionalism will not be supported. Witch hunting will not be supported. It goes with a whole code of conduct. So if you're an Ambazonian woman and you're looking for that space where we can come in as women and bring all the leadership skills, we have super talented, intelligent, gorgeous Ambazonian women that I believe if they come together, I'm afraid people like Capo Dana will be like, please, can we have a meeting with you? And we'll be like, no, we're busy. Can we talk to you next month?
Jesse!
So please, Abu Fri and all of you here, we are actually looking for every strong Ambazonian woman that wants this revolution pursued ethically, with integrity and accountability, and above all with patriotism. One of our core values that we want to embed into the league is that of patriotism. We need to go back and look at patriotism and ensure that every Ambazonian embraces that patriotism, and it will stop all this unnecessary infighting. So that is where the Women's League is. If you are not sure how to go about it, we are on Facebook. You can search for Southern Cameroon's Women's League on Facebook. We are on Twitter. You can look for at Scowl, which is a short form of Southern Cameroon's Women's League, Scowl 2020. That's us on Twitter. Or you can contact yours truly directly.
Okay. I have a question for you, but let me have Capo give his last thoughts. I know he's ready to go sleep.
Maybe
Capo, are you there?
Maybe he's falling asleep already.
Let me have him give his last thoughts if he's there, and then I'll come back. Capo, I guess he's gone. So there are other, I know that, well, I know of some few
Jesse, be ready. We probably will not round up this show today because you've touched something right now that Abu is so passionate about, and I think we have to stay for the next 1 hour.
No, I'm not going to get into it. And well, if I have to get into the whole women issue, I'll definitely.
Let me just correct something. I think there's a misconception. No, I am not saying that if you belong to a group, you cannot join. No, I am saying that in the group, there will be no groups. In the movement of women, there will be no groups. I am a member of, I work with the IG, so I am in that group. Abu Fri is with EGOV-C. She's more than welcome, and a whole lot. So if you are in a group, you are more than welcome, but within the Women's League, there will be no grouping.
All right,
Jesse, are you able to come to Freedom TV?
Absolutely.
Talk about this group.
Let's Capo round up his thoughts, and then we'll finish up here, please.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Comrade Jesse, and for your courage. I think you're one of those exemplary women. It is not easy at all with our culture where we come from. We have a lot of cultural barriers on our women, and we need to work on that, especially on us men, the way we see women as object and stuff like that. I promise I'm not going to take any girl to the swimming pool. But I think that we need to respect our women more, and it is a topic that most of us men in particular we don't realize it, but we have to talk to our women more and also get more women to speak out, because they do need that encouragement. They come from a place that have been suppressed for so long. They need an extra hand, and we stand behind you and the great job, Abu Fri, Immaculate, Mangang, and all the Ambazonian women who have championed our cause, and in particularly the Takambangs women. I love them so much. They are an inspiration for me. I don't have a daughter, but I wish one day I'll have a daughter and teach them about Takambang women. Unfortunately, I'll have to go now. But I want to give you an advice about the new association you guys are creating for the women. It's a powerful idea. I just plead on you that our experience in the struggle is that organizations like that in the initial stage are actually usually easily infiltrated by people that are very dangerous. There is one lady there who had been calling, they had a leaked audio calling for General Arake to be killed when he was in prison. Her name is Natasia. I just tell you publicly so that you will fish her out in that group and talk to her, or just monitor her influence, because every Amazonian have a right to belong to that group. But just be careful with people who are going to hijack it or infiltrate it, and then you'll be fine. I encourage it, and thank you, my sister. And I hope we will continue this conversation another day. People can learn that you are a tough lady, and you come to a crowd where all of us are people who are leaning or are members of the AGOVC and ADC, and you still take the hit. I congratulate you for that, ma'am. And thank you, guys. My brother will chat. We'll continue the conversation behind. And good job, dear. I have to go.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
It's a wonderful morning over there. It's going to work right now.
Good morning, Capo. Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys. We are going to round up. I know we've taken a lot of time. I also had so many things to do, but which is okay. Comrade Jesse,
Yes.
before I get you to round up your thoughts. Now, with regards to this women's group, I know that there are already a whole lot of other women's group out there, and we know how this group here there has brought so many problems within this struggle. So don't you all think it would be better to have all these women group that are already in existence come together as one, rather than instead forming a group and then you have all these other groups out there, and again voices become so disjointed when we have different groups all over the place. So what are your thoughts? Don't you all think, like, you have the Southern Cameroon's women movement here in the US, you have another group in Europe and all that? What about all these groups just coming together?
All right, no, that's a good question. And actually, when we had we actually debated on this before we decided to go along with it. And yes, there are existing women's groups, and these are very specific. So we have the Southern Cameroon's European Women. I think that's the most active women's group globally as it stands. There is the Southern Cameroon's women's movement in the US. And the truth is, I don't know much about that because I don't see much from that end. However, what we thought was that we have these groups that exist. They don't even represent, let's just say 1% of the Amazonian women. And actually, and obviously the visions are different, right? Like you see, there are some of these, especially these two that I know exist, they have their focus in specific areas. But now we're talking about a situation where women are coming together, not to focus on specific areas, but actually to bring everything that makes us women, to bring our softer skills, to bring our soft emotions, and to bring the real unbreakable, hardcore woman, to bring that leadership skill, to bring that intelligence, and not limit ourselves to anything, but to project us as a united front, as well as leaders in our own right. We're not looking to actually assimilate the other groups. No, that's not what we're looking for. But however, the league does have provision for affiliate members. So if there are existing women's groups that want to be affiliated to the Southern Cameroon's Women's League, that is up to them. They can then approach us and we'll go through that. And that affiliation is not just limited to Amazonian women's groups. We're hopefully looking to have global affiliate members. And that's what we're looking at. We are looking at taking the Women's League beyond Amazonia. Our target is not about having women to then turn around and be looking in-house again. We want a strong women's league that looks outside of Amazonia, that talks to out of Amazonia, that talks to people who are not Amazonians, organizations that are not Amazonian, and that's the main thing. So we want to project this strong women's focus internationally, because it has a huge impact to our revolution. To see a forceful number of Amazonian women taking the revolution forcefully everywhere globally it's going to send a completely different kind of message to whoever we are approaching. So that's the thinking.
All right, great. I think it's a great idea. So we'll talk about this in the back some more. But guys, I'm gonna just please briefly, round up your thoughts. I see somewhere that Tapang Aibo is live, so let's give him the chance to have his own, show. Comrade Asu, please, just in less than 1 minute, can you please round up your thoughts?
It would have also been very nice for Comrade Tapang Aibo to have waited for us to finish this show before he started the show too. I'm just saying, okay? That's just been thoughtful. It's been a great conversation. This type of conversations are necessary for our revolution. They are necessary for the education, for the advancement of our people, to refine our strategies, our ideas, and how we carry ourselves in this revolution. So, Comrade Jesse, thank you so much for being this soft, strong cookie. Right? It's been great to have you been able to stand your grounds and articulate some of those things, even when, even Capo that's supposed to be on your side. Capo that's supposed to be on your side.
That's okay.
Right? So it's been great to see you. You're this great woman. I've watched a lot of your outings. So you're doing a great job out there. I applaud you and I applaud the few Ambazonian girls. I call you girls. The few Ambazonian girls that are young women that are doing so much for our revolution. Your examples encourage, inspire, and empower other young women and other women to do their part for the revolution. There is space for every single Ambazonian. The more people are engaged, also for us. Look, if you look at even the male activists, how many of us are really putting our faces out there, right? So we also encourage that men should do the same. A lot of men should get involved in the revolution, participate in the revolution. This is a revolutionary social political process. We are forging a new nation. It's very dynamic. The energy we have is extraordinary. The ideas, the thoughts, the education is just great. So to hear that there is a new movement that is coming on to harness the energy of our beautiful young women and our women, to put it together and to internationalize this revolution, this is something great. And we welcome it and we appreciate it. We applaud it. We'll be all behind you all and clapping for you all. So in rounding up, I will encourage Ambazonians. We have made a lot of progress. We are this close for the Ambazonian people to achieve that complete freedom that we've been seeking. And so it is time for us to rally behind our leaders and the movement that are truly championing this revolution at its purest form. And we owe, I think, all our thankfulness to the forces on the ground, to those 23 boys that are under misguided forces of the Bui warriors. We are praying for them. Leaders are working for them. Our defense strategies are working to looking for all possible ways to, whether it's through the community, whether it's through defense diplomacy, or whether it's through a military intervention. There will be no option left to make sure that these boys are released. And we said something here. People will be held accountable. We may not have a government. We may be all disjointed. People will be held accountable. Records are being kept. As you said, who is saying what we say to the Ambazonian people, who instrumentalizes them, who used them, who called for their killing, records are being kept. People will be held accountable. The revolution will one day come to an end. There will be an Ambazonian. These people will be held accountable.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that very inspiring talk. Over to you, Jesse. Can you please make it 1 minute?
Very brief. Yes.
Mine was just 1 minute.
Oh,
yes. Comrades, Abu Fri, first of all, thank you very much for having. And Comrade Lucas, I think we need to do this some more. It's been very enlightening. And of course, it's when we start engaging like this, we start looking for solutions to our challenges. and forging a way forward. We cannot continue to operate in these very separate nucleuses and thinking that we're going to get to Boya. No. So I am so glad that we were here today, and I want to thank the viewers for having stayed with us for close to 3 hours. That must have been very interesting.
Because I promised them drama.
So to our people on Ground Zero, I don't know what to say. May you just stay blessed, protected, safe. To our refugees, please bear with us. We're doing the best we can. Also be safe. To our boys, may God protect you. To our leaders and all those incarcerated, please be strong. We will never forsake you. We will never stop this fight until every single one of you is free. And to all our leaders in the diaspora, we need to stop the me attitude and adopt the we attitude. That's the only thing that we need. It is not about you. It's not about me. It is about us. And for our women, we have a powerful Women's League coming up. Please don't say you were not told. Don't say you didn't know. Please search us out, join us. We have some great work that we need to do. And believe me, if we do this the way it's envisioned, the men will have a thing or two to learn from us. So my fellow comrades, thank you for being with us today. And I still pay homage to all those that have passed away, especially the kids that were killed in Gabo and the recent massacre in Babanki. So let's continue to pray for them, but do not forget them, because in remembering them, we'll be able to forcefully correct some of these mistakes that we have made in the past. So stay blessed and buy bonds, buy pins, fund the revolution, whatever it is you have to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessie. And I'm gonna be reaching out again to you to discuss how we can. Well, I'm planning to have a show that is gonna be an all women's panel. Yeah. So we can, discuss some of these issues from our own perspective.
Yes.
So yes, I'm definitely gonna be reaching out to you again with regards to that. But thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, thanks. Fellow viewers, thank you so much for joining us to watch. We really do appreciate your time. You've taken about more than 3 hours to sit with us. Thank you so much. For those on Ground Zero, thank you. We cannot thank you enough for all the sacrifices you're making. We cannot thank you enough for putting your lives in front of the barrel of a gun so that we can have a free Amazonia. Thank you. We cannot thank the kids enough for the sacrifices that they are making to not get educated, or to not go to school. We say thank you. We are hopefully doing all this for a better educational system where you all will have a sophisticated educational system that will take you to higher heights and make you, as bright as the stars above. So thank you all so much. I just want to implore our all of us Amazonians to be able to identify one of the issues that I see in this struggle is the issue of leadership. When we are able to identify true leadership in this struggle, we will have a way forward. We will have, our voices will not be disjointed, because we know we are going to have somebody that speaks for us, and we are going to stand behind that person and push our objective forward. For all of you that are like me, that are proponents of self-defense, please sponsor, fund self-defense projects. We have the PIN project that is currently going on. Jessie, did you buy your PIN? You need to get your PIN.
Oh, I do.
You even ran and safe past me.
So please go buy your bond. We need the bonds purchased as well.
Absolutely. Please buy your bonds, buy your pins, get your Amber coin thing. So whatever that will enable this revolution to be funded and provide sophisticated weapons for our freedom fighters, our defenders of mothers and children on the ground, please get yours, get your bonds, get your pins, get your Amber coin. And you all stay blessed. Have a wonderful Sunday and have a blessed new week. Bye.